All right, and we're live. So no intro on this video, guys, because my subscription expired and I haven't re-upped it yet. But as you know by the title, guys, we're here to talk about the latest news concerning the Black Panther IP within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We're here to talk about David Jonsson, that casting, all of the discussion concerning that, and obviously where does recast T'Challa sit? I don't know. I'm not the creator of that hashtag, but I'm going to talk about a new hashtag. So I'm going to do my very best. This is recording as if it's live. So I will not be editing this video. So any mistakes, anything that's said out of turn, anything that is, I guess, wrong is not going to be edited out this video. This is going to be a straightforward video. So obviously this past weekend was San Diego Comic-Con, and during San Diego Comic-Con, we got a plethora of reveals, a plethora of things that were going on, especially for a channel like mine where we cover the latest Hot Toys, and other collectibles that come out, but primarily Hot Toys. And there was a huge lineup, a huge Doomsday lineup on display there, and that was amazing. So make sure you guys go look at my shorts and check out those shorts, because I kind of talk about the Doomsday lineup there. But for the purpose of this video, let's talk about Black Panther. So obviously Black Panther 3 was announced with a date. It is set to be released in December of 2028. So originally, a lot of people thought that maybe Black Panther 3 could be in between possibly Secret Wars and Doomsday. And that's because some people were rumored to say that Damson Idris would be cast as Toussaint, and that he was scheduled to have a lot of filming going on in London during that time. So people assumed that he was already cast as Toussaint and that he would be filming for Black Panther 3 and Secret Wars. But obviously we know that is not the case. So at SDCC, Ryan Coogler came on stage. Obviously, he introduced Letitia Wright, who plays Shuri, and he introduced Winston Duke, who plays M'Baku. And then he introduced what he said who would be the T'Challa for this upcoming film, which is really Toussaint. So he introduced the actor that would be playing that character, and that actor is obviously who's on the screen, David Jonsson. So after this announcement, I went to go watch The Long Walk because I never watched it. I also never watched Alien Romulus. Not my type of stuff, guys. I know I heard Josh say that's not his type of stuff either. I don't watch that kind of stuff, guys. Just not my taste. But I watched The Long Walk, and I didn't particularly like the movie. I thought the concept of the movie was stupid. And I don't think any of the acting in that movie was particularly great. Though there's a lot of film critics who do this as a profession said his acting, David Jonsson's acting within this film, reminded them of something that Chadwick Boseman had within his acting prowess. I didn't see that. Again, I'm not a film critic, but that doesn't mean I can't have a valid critique. I didn't see it there. I'm not saying that his acting was terrible, but like little things like his accent, like and we're gonna get into like the diaspora wars of him being British and all that kind of stuff, but his accent was not there. That's not a Southern accent. His accent was more so like him muffling his mouth and him talking like this instead of like having a real Southern accent. So it didn't really throw me off. I could see through the accent. So nothing really negative to say other than that I didn't really like the concept of the movie, and that his acting wasn't like mind blowing. So I have not seen Alien Romulus, and so I can't give you a perspective on that. But in terms of, there's a lot to say about the aesthetic of David Jonsson that is being critiqued. I'm not going to come out and call this man ugly. I'm not going to come out and call this man a wimp. You can't help your stature, and you really can't help your natural build, right? That's why people work out. That's why people get in shape for all these roles, right? So he can look the part. I did one status was kind of funny on X, where someone was talking about all these things he needed to do to look the part, and I did comment on that post, and I said, well, if he's the right casting, why does he have to do all these things to look the part? Anyway, I digress. How do I feel about this casting? I mentioned it a few days ago in a short, and I don't have any particular negative feelings towards this casting. And the reason that is because I'm not checking for Toussaint. So again, Toussaint is a character that has zero comic history. And this is a character that Ryan Coogler introduced at the end of Wakanda Forever. And I believe it was a post-credit scene. So it was at the end of Wakanda Forever. Obviously, Shuri is introduced by Nakia introduces Shuri to her nephew. Okay. I have a whole thing about that. I'm not gonna get into that right now, but this is Ryan Coogler's baby, right? And so Toussaint, as many people said, Ryan Coogler was always going to handle his character that he introduced. And so the natural progression of that is for him to be in Black Panther 3. Okay. To me, that does not negate or should not prevent T'Challa proper, T'Challa son of T'Chaka, from being present within the MCU. Again, guys, we are in the multiverse saga. We've been in the multiverse saga since what, 2020? I know there was a gap year in between Endgame and when they were releasing films and Disney Plus specials because of the pandemic during that time. But basically, for 6 years, we have been in the multiverse saga. We've seen variants of Doctor Doom. We've seen variants, I'm sorry, Doctor Strange, not Doctor Doom, Doctor Strange. We've seen variants of Loki, variants of several characters, Spider-Man. We saw that before we really kind of got into all these other variants. So we've seen countless variants of other characters, even Wolverine within Deadpool and Wolverine Deadpool. So we've seen countless variants. And it's I guess I have to come back to what someone said, that T'Challa is dead in every universe. And I thought that's a crazy concept to have. That's a crazy thought to have. But you know what? He's probably being facetious. But anyway, he was probably being sarcastic but serious at the same time. But that looks like what's going on right now with the MCU. It looks like T'Challa is deleted throughout the entirety of the multiverse, which is ridiculous. It's beyond ridiculous. So to have a character within this very month of SDCC and with all of this news coming out, to have July 2026 be the 60th year anniversary of T'Challa proper within comics, and to announce Toussaint as if Toussaint and T'Challa are synonymous when Toussaint has zero, again, comic history. We don't know this character. Now, some people are going to care for this character for sentimental reasons, right? Oh, Chadwick Boseman died. This is now his character being rebirthed through his son, and this is the continuation on of that legacy. I don't even see it that way, because these are two different people. And really, Black Panther 2018, I enjoyed that movie. We all came together, coalesced, and made sure that that movie was successful in the box office, and I'm proud of that. But at the same time, when we look or we judge from the perspective of the integrity of a character from a comic book perspective, T'Challa was not necessarily T'Challa in that film. He's T'Challa by name and obviously setting, but T'Challa did not have several of his characteristics and attributes that caused him to stand out within comic books, right? He did not have his genius displayed in that film. He was not as assertive as he was in Civil War. When we got kind of the prequel to T'Challa in Civil War before Black Panther 2018, T'Challa did not have a lot of those attributes that readers of the comics know T'Challa by, right? We don't just know people or know characters by an aesthetic and a look. We know people by their character, and that was not always displayed in that film. Anyway, I digress from that. So when Chadwick Boseman died, we were all distraught in August 2020. It was the middle of the pandemic. We had seen Chadwick had uploaded a video on Instagram in April, a few months prior to his passing, and he looked very thin, and people were wrong or wondering what's wrong with him. It was a lot of inappropriate, a lot of ridiculous conversations going on concerning how he looked. And for me, I was like, he's sick. But then people were saying that, oh, he's losing weight for a role. So you try to let that, roll off, and fast forward, he dies. We're distraught. Fast forward from there to December, Kevin Feige announces that they will not be recasting T'Challa. I believe E-Man at that time, I believe it was the same month. I could be wrong. E-Man came out with the petition and the hashtag recast T'Challa, right? And then you also had other people, well-known other film critics like John Campion, who calls himself the granddaddy of recast T'Challa, right? But at the same time, said that the recast T'Challa hashtag was misguided. Anyway, so it was a whole, not uproar, it was a whole coming together of the minds of those who support the character of T'Challa, that want to see T'Challa return to the silver screen. So this is before Wakanda Forever. Obviously, people who think reasonably knew that T'Challa would not and probably should not be in Wakanda Forever, right? There's a lot of debate online. There's a lot of back and forth. There was a lot of misconceptions being thrown out there, calling recast T'Challa misogynistic and all this kind of weird social justice warrior type stuff. That was very incorrect. And then we got Wakanda Forever. All right. People did not like that movie, but it made over $800 million in the box office. So apparently some people liked it, right? Or a lot of people liked it. And then now we fast forward, it would be now 4 years from then to SDCC in this news. And then with this news, it has created a lot of discussion online. It's created diaspora wars. You got people, Black Americans talking about British Blacks taking Hollywood roles. You have people getting mad at this young man's look. You have all kind of discussions going on. But if I can speak my perspective, I know that was a long prelude to get into actually what I'm going to say. I think we're having the wrong discussion here. I think we're distracted by this casting, this recast actually. So Toussaint got recast before T'Challa can get recast. And that is ridiculous, but that's also hilarious. It's not funny, but it's like painfully hilarious because it's stupid. But I'm gonna attempt to explain my thoughts again. This is not an edited video, guys. This is a straight shot. I'm just talking. And so then my thoughts are this. I think we're having the wrong discussion. And the reason why I think we're having the wrong discussion is because the focus is on Toussaint, right? I thought recast T'Challa was about T'Challa proper, right? Not about Toussaint. So why are we getting up in arms about this character that we knew was going to exist? Obviously, some people like me, I troll or joke a lot and say just blow up Wakanda because we do not want this character. We don't know what this character is, right? A lot of people saw that as being, I don't know. It was a lot of stuff online. Anyway, trying to stick with the point. So we're having a wrong discussion because we should be focused on T'Challa. Nothing has changed for me. We haven't lost. I know Blues House said we've lost. I know E-Man has alluded to those conversations. We have not lost. It sounds like E-Man has backed up off the recast and he is now going to fully embrace this character, which is fine. That's his personal choice. There's been a lot of people online, like Chillmonger's having discussions. I've not seen Darius Planet Fanatics have a lot of discussion. I know that Dre Mack has had discussions. I believe that Back of the Bus, Marcus has had discussions on his channel. And Tina has had discussion. Now, for my little channel here, I believe the focus should remain on T'Challa and what we ought to be asking for, if not everyone else, what I'm going to be asking for is for T'Challa to be in Secret Wars. Why? We're still in the multiverse saga. It is still reasonable and logical for T'Challa proper, a variant of T'Challa, son of T'Chaka, obviously not the iteration of T'Challa that Chadwick Boseman played, because that character, that iteration is dead. But again, as I alluded to before, there are several variants within the multiverse. There is no way a T'Challa son of T'Chaka should not be on the silver screen just so Ryan Coogler can have this character that he came up with. That is beyond ridiculous. So what I'm going to be pushing is put T'Challa. Those of you who are watchers of this channel and who follow me on social media, I've been putting hashtag put T'Challa in Secret Wars. And if you don't mind, put that in the comment section for me. Those who are recast T'Challa still, who may not use that hashtag or want to use a new hashtag, let's ask Marvel Studios to put T'Challa proper within Secret Wars. I mean, if they can't do that, that really shows their inability to be fair. They're being unreasonable by not having T'Challa. I mean, you have 60 years of comic history of T'Challa, and you want to put that to the side for Ryan Coogler's character, who is not going to have 60 years of history. I don't care what anyone says. Toussaint is not going to last 60 years. Why? Because Toussaint does not have the setup. He does not have the background that in the involvement in comics that T'Challa has. So again, I think we need to have the focus on remaining on T'Challa. We haven't lost. They're still in the multiverse saga, and anything can happen between now and Secret Wars. And then also we still have other actors out there that want to play T'Challa. You have Damson Idris still wants to play T'Challa, right? Aldous Hodge, who I believe is the best candidate to play T'Challa for a plethora of reasons, right? Because he's grown up reading the comics, he knows this character, and we know he actually understands and reverences this character, but not only reverences the character, understands and respects Chadwick Boseman's contribution to the character, because we've seen in several interviews that he's talked about that. Actually, his director and writer for Cross on Amazon Prime talked about Aldous Hodge about a year or so ago from season 1, that him being a perfect fit for T'Challa in the MCU. E-Man himself talked about how in Black Adam he played Hawkman, and how that presentation, that iteration, that acting delivery reminded him of someone who's T'Challa-esque. So with that said, I think we need to continue to push the idea that T'Challa being in the MCU is still realistic. Now, a lot of people are going to be negative. Me, the kind of person I am a more so positive person. Why is that? I'm a person who has had a lot of disappointment and a lot of like random things in my life to throw me off, that I refuse to be negative, especially when it comes to fantasy, right? This is just stuff we care for that is, in the grand scheme of things, guys, this stuff is not important, but we make it important, and it's important to us because it's played a positive part in our lives, whether we got into reading the comics at an early age, whether we got into collecting at an early age, whether it was the MCU that introduced us to these characters from a younger age. These things have had an impression on us, and it's contributed to our lives in a positive way. So that said, I want to kind of highlight and switch the stage here. Let's go to kind of some of the discussions that's being had online. I'm not sure how well this is going to look. That's not what I want to do. All right. I want to kind of read some of this stuff. I don't want to necessarily highlight my stuff. This is being recorded, but I want to kind of see.
David Jonsson's been cast as T'Challa's son. Okay, so it is T'Challa's son. Look, man, kind of a bummer there. I think a lot of us have mixed feelings about that.
So this is Toussaint.
Yep, T'Challa Jr.
So
I told y'all.
This is kind of reactions to the announcement this past weekend. I'm not sure if the audio is coming through because of my AirPods, but
I don't know if they're going to introduce who the new Black Panther is.
All right, probably.
New Black Panther.
That's my guess.
T'Challa's son is the new Black Panther.
Ryan Coogler just announced that David Jonsson is the new Black Panther, the son of T'Challa.
Yeah, so basically Chill here was showing the reactions of prominent people within this space.
David Jonsson's been cast as
He was showing first Den of Nerds, Josh, and then he showed the panel of Tina and those guys, that announcement was underwhelming to them, and then just my opinion, and then Brendan Avery, and then John Campia. Yeah, so just a lot of conversation about this character, but yet again, I believe the focus needs to be on T'Challa. You guys are a lot of you guys are focusing on Toussaint. Oh, we lost because Toussaint is here. Oh, we lost. I told you they're going to do that. Yeah, we knew that. We were wishing that they would not go along with Toussaint, but we should still advocate for T'Challa for all the reasons that we're talking about online. So this shouldn't be a discouragement at all for us to stop advocating for T'Challa to be within the MCU. And points I made here. Again, this is my actual bookcase that's in the back here. I don't know if it's in full frame. That's in the back over here. But this is why T'Challa is important to Secret Wars. This right here, T'Challa with the Gauntlet, is very important to Jonathan Hickman's 2015 through 2016 Secret Wars, and him helping to distract and help Reed defeat Doctor Doom. Now, who's going to do that? It shouldn't be Shuri, and it definitely shouldn't be, and it's not going to be most likely Toussaint. So who is going to take up this role? Because this is something you can't and shouldn't just bypass, because that's disrespecting comic lore. That's disrespecting, and that's unfair to people who are expecting. This is not this here, who are expecting to see not necessarily a 1-to-1, but something similar to this represented within Secret Wars. Again, this T'Challa discussion is a whole thing because people are fans of this stuff because of the comics. Okay, the MCU has legs, not because most of their movies are great. We like their movies, but none of their movies are critically acclaimed, right? What's critically acclaimed, and here's the irony about this entire thing, was critically acclaimed about the MCU and Marvel Studios is the cinematography and the wardrobe of Black Panther. And so I guess that's a two-edged sword thing, right? Because they said, oh, as long as we can have the aesthetic in the feel, in the look of Wakanda, this is going to be a profitable IP and franchise within our studio. So we can switch out the mantle of the Black Panther from T'Chaka to T'Challa to Killmonger to T'Challa to Shuri to Toussaint. We can have 5 different Black Panthers in 3 films, and it's going to be okay, because Black people are going to support Black. Let me talk about that as well. Black people supporting Black. I don't agree with the mindset, the premise that Black people just should support Black. And because Ryan Coogler is Black, we need to support Ryan Coogler. Now, let's apply that logic to politics. Let's apply that logic to community issues like robberies, killings, whatever it is. Just because someone is melanated like us and we have similar lineage and cultural backgrounds, doesn't that mean I automatically need to support that? Because if we don't support this thing, we're not going to get another chance to contribute to the industry at this level. I'm not a proponent of that. I don't believe in any of that whatsoever. Let's take a look at Chill stuff.
The stage, it says Black Panther 3. Are they recasting T'Challa? He says, and I quote, we introduced a character
who is the son of the character that the great child both in play, or T'Challa in that film. And today, I want to tell you guys in this next film,
come on, Ryan, get to it.
Grows up, comes of age.
Ryan,
confirmed that the T'Challa experiment is real. They're going to take Toussaint, who they introduced at the end of Wakanda Forever.
This is my son.
Yeah.
Agent character. Now we're getting no longevity. There's no he'll survive a reboot. This is just a dead end of a character.
Yep, all that stuff. Chill. So, I mean, again, it's a dead end of a character. But guys, we need to focus on T'Challa. So if we were never checking for Toussaint from the beginning, I can see why this would be frustrating for you or for anyone. But we weren't checking for this character anyway, so who cares if he's recast? Because in the back of our minds, we already knew that this was going to be reality to begin with, right? We were just asking for them not to totally replace T'Challa with this character. Now, maybe I have delusional hope, but I think it's still possible if we continue to make our voices heard, right? So what I'm going to be doing on this channel, you're going to get a lot of toy stuff. I'm in transition with a few things. Don't want to announce anything on this platform till certain things come to fruition. But some things change in my life. It's kind of interesting. This YouTube channel started as just a viewer channel, guys. So I was supporting a lot of people. I was talking about, subscribe to a lot of these guys, and sharing the videos and stuff. And I think I spoke to someone about, oh, you collect stuff. I collect stuff too, right? And then a lot of other people, right? So I'm connected to other people who don't necessarily talk about, the MCU in this way on their platforms. But I'm appreciative to the 1/6 scale community for sure. I've connected with a lot of those guys on Facebook. Those platforms tend to trend a lot more positive, and I'm appreciative for that, because a lot of this MCU stuff can be negative, even if the YouTuber maybe it's not trying to come off as negative, but it's very negative. Anyway, yeah, guys. So I mean, this whole channel kind of started on me wanting to share kind of like my collecting stuff and want to cultivate a community of that. So we'll continue doing that, but I'm definitely going to still advocate for T'Challa without the toxic part of that being a part of this channel. I'm going to keep it positive. I think I bring a unique perspective because we all think different, but also I like to think not necessarily outside the box. I like to look again optimistically while still holding a stance on what I'm passionate about, right? Because on this channel, again, I'm unleashing my passion concerning this stuff. So I think we just need to continue to focus on T'Challa and not focus on Toussaint, because what we're really mad at is them not recasting T'Challa, or them not recasting T'Challa yet, right? We've kind of displaced our frustration, our anger, and now clear heads do not prevail when people are emotional or mad, right? We have to stay in the line and focus on T'Challa, right? People advocated for Daredevil. They've advocated for Deadpool, and those fans got what they wanted. And regardless of whatever conversations are had online, that be YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, X/Twitter, people are going to say negative things, but who cares? It's our job, your job, to be positive, right? So a lot of times when disappointment happens, or when you don't accomplish a goal in the time in which you want, you have to switch up your approach, right? You have to switch up your perspective, and you don't do the same thing the same way 100 times and it doesn't work, right? That's what insanity is, right? So you have to be flexible and you have to be creative. So again, you should advocate, we should advocate, I want to advocate for T'Challa without any of that toxic stuff, talking about this guy's, I mean, some stuff it could be kind of true. It's kind of funny. I play around all the time, but I'm not going to contribute to the nasty stuff that's going into David Jonsson as an actor. Again, I didn't particularly like The Long Walk. I didn't care for the overall plot of the film, and the acting was not particularly great. So I'm not going to be a bootlicker on that. And that's the other thing, guys. We can talk about this all day. We can talk about Blade and how Marvel just seems to have an issue with handling Black characters. But I think I'm going to land my plane here. I don't know how long I've gone. I've gone 30 minutes. I hope what I said was articulated clearly. Again, this is not an edited video. So I hope what I have communicated, I've tried to communicate, is articulated clearly. And basically, the summarized version of what I'm trying to say is, let's continue to focus on the character that we are passionate about, and that is T'Challa proper, T'Challa, son of T'Chaka. Okay? If you are pro Toussaint and you are going to comment in the comment section, be respectful to those who are pro T'Challa. If you are going to be disingenuous and say Toussaint is T'Challa, they are not. For instance, my name is Cornelius. My dad's name is Cornelius. And guess what? I have an older half brother. And guess what his name is? Cornelius. This is a true story. Okay. But we are not the same person. We are three separate individuals. And so we cannot be recasted with one another just because we have the same bloodline and we have the same name. That's not how that works. That's a true story. Honestly, all three of our names are Cornelius. That's not how that works. So let's not be silly, right? We've seen multiple Peter Parkers, Spider-Man. We've seen multiple Batman throughout the years, right? We've seen multiple Hawks throughout the years, okay? And now in this multiverse saga, we've seen a plethora of different characters with multiple variants. So it is not unreasonable for fans of T'Challa, who is Black Panther proper, but now we have to word it this way so people don't, try to make us look silly. Oh, they did recast T'Challa. Toussaint is T'Challa. No, come on, let's be for real, guys. So let's be respectful in the comments. But for me, I'm going to be putting on social media, put T'Challa in Secret Wars. You're open and welcome to do that as well. If not, that's fine, guys. But again, this is the Collector's Reign YouTube channel where I unleash my passion. My name is Cornelius. You guys can find me on Instagram at Reign of C. Reign of C on Instagram. Do not follow me on Twitter because sometimes I say some stuff that's controversial and crazy. But again, this is Cornelius on the Collector's Reign YouTube channel. I hope I've articulated my point of view. And guys, if you want to see T'Challa proper, T'Challa, son of T'Chaka, in the MCU again, during this multiverse saga, I think our best hope is that we at least get him in Secret Wars as some kind of cameo. Okay, so if that's what you want to see, put T'Challa in Secret Wars in the comments, guys. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for supporting this channel. Like, share this video. Let's stay connected, guys. Again, I still want to cultivate people who are collectors. You can see some stuff in the background there. This top level is cleared off. I have Funko Pops. I have McFarlane's. McFarlane's is in that big display. Anyway, I appreciate you guys. Peace. Shalom. Shalom. Oh my. Peace.